Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reed's Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. I'm, of course, Ryan Reed. Please check us out on SpidermanCrawlspace.com. Well, it's been a couple weeks, but I'm here to do a major review here on everything from Absolute Carnage tie-ins of Spider-Man with issues 30 through 31, and, of course, Absolute Carnage 3 and 4. And then, of course, journey on to the future for Spider-Man 2099 for issues 32 and 33. And then, of course, wrap up the best with the amazing Mary Jane #1. Let's get into the pros first with Absolute Carnage. So first of all, the main tie-in issues for the series Absolute Carnage. I have been enjoying this issue. It's been really more enjoyable. There is actually a setup and actually a piece for the storylines to continue. One thing, of course, is Ryan Stegman art continues to be a huge shine. I think Donny Cates has really found a nice little piece here with Carnage. I really like that he has a plan as well as working on to what Carnage is trying to do, and end up with the tie-ins with the Immortal Hulk, with him getting, of course, the full original Venom symbiote and getting everything he needs for all the pieces to go wake up Null, the symbiont god. I also liked the fact that they tied in everything really well with the other symbionts, as well as the fact that the Maker was going to be, betraying Eddie Brock. Everybody saw it coming, but when it's all set up and done, it's kind of nice how the Codex actually becomes the new Venom symbiont with new abilities, new powers, and giving it so there'll be this big final showdown. So that does very well. And I think the tie-in issues would actually explain Norman Osborn still thinking himself with the Carnage worked well, because it really set up everything with Kindred. We're really seeing that it probably is Harry Osborn who's Kindred, or at least somebody associated with him, talking about, of course, Norman's rise and fall, rise again and fall again. And I really like that we actually see Peter doing his best. He doesn't need help from anybody. He doesn't need Avengers, even everything with going on with Eddie Brock. He defeats Norman Osborn with the Carnage symbiote himself before, he goes journeying off into issue 4 of Absolute Carnage. So it's really nice to see Peter pull himself up, muster everything, know they could be killed, know they couldn't do anything against Carnage symbiote with Norman Osborn, and actually defeats him, and it's really nicely done. And it's also very creepy with more of the horror aspect with Kindred, especially when Norman Osborn, even though he's been told that he really is Norman Osborn and not Cletus Cassidy, actually tells Kindred that he's very proud of him, which even alludes more that it could possibly be Harry Osborn who's Kindred. But we don't quite know yet, and of course we'll find out as time goes on. The whole series, I'm going to definitely give an A- for the tie-in issues and the setup with Kindred. Kindred really does well with it being involved with the Absolute Carnage storyline. We're not sidetracking too much, but it's not perfect, but it does a nice little job with everything. So I like that factor and how it works with that. So A- for that. Now moving on to the after Absolute Carnage, to the Spider-Man 2099. I'll go down to the pros in that. So first of all, I definitely like the pieces that they're really picking up some pieces from Silver Sable and everything with Dr. Doom and what the Chameleon storyline is. There's a nice little setup where Nick Spencer doesn't really poo-poo on anything that's really happened back from the Ends of the Earth storyline, but gives everything more realistic, and even brings the Foreigner and some of Spider-Man's older enemies into the storyline really nice. And I also like that there's this very forbidding kind of piece going on with the Chameleon right now, because he's definitely got a plan. We don't know what it is, but really, is he trying to start a war between Symmetra and Latveria and bring the whole world into it, or is he just doing it just so as he can? I think that's really nice as we're seeing more layers peeled away with the Chameleon, but that kind of leads to the cons of that storyline. We're caught into another crossover. Yes, Spider-Man 29 is happening, which is going to tie in with the new 29 issues coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But it feels like we're caught in two crossovers. Nick Spencer, Ryan Ottley, and of course Patrick Gleason are doing their best to really tie these stories in. And the artwork is gracious, and there's nice little pieces of the flow, but I feel we've been kind of crammed too much into it to make these storylines happen. And while Spencer is doing his best to make them relevant to the story, it's hurting the overall part of the story. So even though we're getting a lot with Miguel O'Hara with the Spider-Man 2099 and the re-lineup of the storylines, it feels really congested and crowded. And of course, Teresa Parker, the concept's okay, but it feels like she's just forced there, and that really brings the storyline. So the 2099 tie-ins, that's going to give me a B- for that grade, because it's nice, but it's really being hindered a lot by this. Hopefully once everything's over with 2099 and how this all works with the Chameleon, we'll understand that. But we need to get out of these crossovers and focus more on Spider-Man. But this leaves to the best for last, guys. I'm going to talk about the amazing Mary Jane #1. Where do I begin? First of all, with the pros. This really just takes the whole concept of Mary Jane, a struggling actress, how she loves acting. It's a passion of her, but she doesn't like the fame that comes with it. She's just trying to do what she loves and enjoys, which was always part of the character. And I think other writers just could not tie that in very well. Leah Williams really finds a way to get to the heart of who Mary Jane is, as well as taking, of course, Quentin back, Mysterio's main characters of who he was and how it's tying in. And I really like how that flows the story. And even though they're making kind of fun of a lot of the genre, it really elevates a lot with Mary Jane and even Peter's relationship in the story. And I definitely like the story plops that are being dropped right into it, with the Savage Six being picked up from, from Hunted, as well as some of the other storylines that are going on in the main Amazing Spider-Man with Kindred. So you see that this is going to kind of lead to a main story. And I think Williams is the right person. And I really enjoyed the artwork. There's some issues that are problems, but it's not bad. The only cons I can really give to is it is a major setup issue, and it's definitely not being treated as a miniseries, but an ongoing series, which is nice. But you do have to worry about some pieces, because you know that things are going to come back to bite Mary Jane, with her actually knowing that Quentin Beck is behind everything in the movie and the fact that he's doing it for other reasons. So you see why Mary Jane's being kind of, but it could cost her in the long, and that only brings it down. But otherwise, I'll give the grade a solid A. It is really, really enjoyable. I'm really glad Mary Jane is finally getting the spotlight she deserves again, and showing why she is such a great character. So I will give in the A- for the Carnage storylines and Kindred. I will give a B- for the 2099 and Chameleon, lines, and of course a solid A for the Amazing Mary Jane. So that's going to wrap it up, everybody. Sorry about the delays. Life happens and we got some crazy things, but I'm hoping now we're going to have a lot more going on. So please check us out at the SpidermanCrawlspace.com for everything spider related, current reviews. There's some amazing reviewers out there, as well as the podcast and the message boards. And I, Ryan Reed, will see you later for more amazing reviews on the Crawl Space. Check you later.